How's it going, everybody? I'm here to bring you another quick little video. I'll try to make it under 10 minutes. It's not too crazy. If you read the title, you kind of know what we're talking about. Pretty much, Avengers Doomsday cast has been announced, and there's been plenty of people upset on both sides of the aisle. You got the leftists that are upset there's not enough women. You got the right side people that are basically seeing it as just a desperate move to try and gain back the audience they once had. And the people in the middle are just kind of like, well, I'm not really feeling it, especially when you look at the cast. There really isn't any Avengers in the film other than Thor and Hulk, I guess you could say. But yeah, this kind of culminates in a huge laundry list of disappointments for a lot of people and not too great box office numbers that have recently passed. Obviously, with all the different Disney Plus shows that at first we're told, you know, they're not important to the movies, and then later they are important to the movies. And if you don't watch the Disney Plus shows, then you miss out on why these characters are how they are, right? And so we are where we're at now, where Avengers Doomsday, which is kind of weird that they skipped the other one, the Secret Wars. But yeah, so we're gonna just go in from one to the other, and we'll jump into it, right? Let's see. On the first ticket on the list. No, the Avengers Doomsday cast announcement didn't spoil Thunderbolts. Probably. Now, this one obviously is for people that are super hyped about it. Just thrilled, right? At where the Thunderbolts is going to be at. And obviously, me personally, I can really give a rat's ass because it's not really the Thunderbolts that are known in the comics. And it's just a mishmash of side characters slash antagonists that turned good, and now they're sitting in a gray area, and that's what we have for this. But for some people, you know, revealing the cast list of Doomsday, in it we saw a significant number of casting assumptions confirmed, alongside big surprises like the number of Fox era X-Men joining the fray. But the stream, well, also offered some frustrations for fans, like its confirmation that almost the whole Thunderbolt cast would make it into Doomsday, leaving a bunch of folks asking, well, what the heck is the point of Thunderbolts then, you know? But if I told you that I didn't think the announcement spoiled Thunderbolts at all, and not in a we see spoilers differently kind of way, I'll admit that I didn't think knowing who makes it out alive doesn't matter in much in the comic book franchise, but the real point goes deeper than that. David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, and Hannah John Kamen appeared in Avengers Doomsday. That doesn't mean that the characters survived Thunderbolts. Sebastian Stan and Florence Pugh coming out on the other side alive was always a given. To explain, we need to give more forward, backwards in time to Fantastic Four first step, and I mean, not really. Marvel's first family, obviously that they were gonna make it no matter what. Holy shit, I gotta sneeze. One of the characters, though, that was definitely not confirmed was Tom Holland's Spider-Man. No, actually, I don't even think Hulk was in it, because apparently Hulk is gonna be in the next Spider-Man 4 film, which this just already shows you the discombobulated state that Marvel's in, right? Because why wouldn't you have Tom Holland? Why wouldn't you make a contract work out where you can have Tom Holland Spider-Man in this film alongside Mark Ruffalo's Hulk? Even though, you know, the man is insufferable on Twitter, he plays an okay Hulk. If any of you have seen the animated show Avengers Mightiest Heroes, you would understand why so many of these characters are getting a lot more backlash now, because they really don't comprise of what was beloved of the characters, right? You got Thor basically still being, you know, Victorian era speech, very much not knowing what any of this stuff is on Earth, but he's trying to acclimate to that. Meanwhile, you got Hulk, who isn't just Hulk smash. No, he actually can speak, and he has a will of his own. He's willing to stand up for like Hawkeye and stuff like that, and willing to just throw down with anybody, right? Whether it's Miss Marvel, fucking Ronin, any other random villain that pops up. Hulk's like, you know what? You want to fucking throw hands? I'm gonna give you the fucking beatdown. And he's said it before that he would eat somebody. That's fucking wild. Something they wouldn't say in the Marvel universe. But as we go on, pushing forward, some people are very upset. We're not getting Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan. I can give a rat's ass because those characters did shit in the comics and failed. So them not appearing is totally okay with me. Yeah, so you could see in this article that obviously they're very upset about this. Another article from The Independent. Marvel's Avengers Doomsday cast video revealed a bleak truth about this future of cinema. Which is not absolute cinema, sorry. Did someone say something? Did someone say something about superhero fatigue? Over the past half decade, prevailing logic has insisted that the cultural dominance of comic book films, especially that of the sprawling multi-billion-dollar franchise known as the MCU, was on its wane. Superhero films were no longer the super fire box office catnip that they had been throughout the 2010s. Each new entry seemed to plumb fresh depths. Marvel not merely jumping the shark once, but doing it again and again, installing itself at SeaWorld as a special shark jumping attraction. But if this week has shown anything, that is that superhero fatigue is set to give way to one hell of a second wind. Yesterday afternoon, Marvel announced the cast list of the forthcoming blockbuster Avengers Doomsday. A staggering 27 actors were confirmed, right? Obviously, the last one was Robert Downey Jr., who's going to be Victor Von Doom, kind of. Well, he's not going to be. We don't really know what the fuck's going to happen, but he's going to be a variant of Doctor Doom, which can only mean that it's Iron Man that turns evil, whatever. Alongside that, the Fantastic Four will be appearing, of course. The rest include a nostalgic grab bag of stars from, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, Alan Cumming, and also Mark, what is his name? The guy that, he appears in Sonic and Hop. So, to be fair, he looks the most still like his character, Cyclops. So, it's good that he's going to be returning. But the announcement was made over a period of hours, which honestly, that live stream having been over fucking 6 hours long was ridiculous for no reason. When just after that live stream happened, they ended up posting like a fucking minute and a half quick version of that. So it's just like, why even do this live stream if you're just gonna release a video with a minute and a half version of it with the same fucking thing? Ridiculous, but whatever. We literally had a chair stream, okay? At one point, there were more than 10 million people watching the video to repeat at nearly 6 hour long video of mostly static furniture watched by more people than, this year's Best Picture Oscar winning Avengers Doomsday may well be on the course to become the most lucrative film of all time. That's... we'll see. Again, it's kind of hard to do a build-up for that, because if you ask anybody right now, who are the Avengers? Who are the Avengers in this current timeline, right? Most people would be like, oh, Black Captain America, Thor, Hulk, and who else? Because Doctor Strange wasn't technically confirmed to be an Avenger. Peter Parker is forgotten about, so he's not an Avenger anymore. Hawkeye is not coming back. I was going to say Scarlett Johansson, but yeah, Black Widow, she's dead. Tony Stark is dead. Captain America is an old man, and you're left with who is supposed to be the stars of the show, right? Is it going to be the Thunderbolts, which is basically a knockoff version of the Avengers? But that's said to be whatever. Of course, this was also originally going to be Avengers King Dynasty, which they pushed Jonathan Majors off the fucking thing so quick with just the accusations. And even though, I'm not a big fan of him, guilty until proven otherwise. Sorry, innocent until proven otherwise. But they just jumped on the bandwagon of, well, he's guilty, so kick him out. He's not going to be in any films anymore. Even though, if they haven't learned enough with Johnny Depp, they surely will now. And as we can see, it has taken a lot for them to try and gain back the sympathy of their audience. It's hard to imagine how Doomsday will be able to corral its lucrative, it's going to be lucrative. That's what they're trying to say. As opposed to Endgame, how it managed to just, deal with the problem by sidelining most of its main characters, reserving the timeline. For Robert Downey Jr. and a few other Avengers. It's fair to assume that some of the 27 actors will only be there probably for about like a few minutes, at most, which is downright sad because you have a lot of good actors in there. Obviously, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. Whatchamacallit. And I'm sure most of them won't get as much screen time as is needed for them to be invested in enough. Obviously, other than that, you also have the people that were coming in, which are not confirmed, but which have heard that are in the film, which is Deadpool and Wolverine. So yes, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are highly rumored to come in, and from what I know, they should be in the film. It's just they're going to wait to announce more people at a later date to try and, keep the hype going. But they would be dumb to not have these guys come back. It's just, you got to kind of figure out how to have a balance, especially with Deadpool in the film, because obviously if it's his film, yes, it could be as stupid and crazy as it wants to be because he's breaking the fourth wall as well. But in a collective film like this, it's going to be a little harder. Those who have spent the 5 years salivating over the impending heat death of the superhero craze had better buckle up. It's clear the MCU isn't going anywhere just yet. We may need to brace it for the possibility that it'll never end, which again, it's just cope at right now because the MCU is basically repeating the same things that made the comics fail in the mid 2000s, stuff like that, right? And they're only, preventing the inevitable ever so slightly. As it is, you have people like this, Game Rant, which obviously is very much on leaning one side. One thing is clear about the Avengers Doomsday cast announcement: Marvel has a female problem. Which again, no it doesn't. It had already a bunch of females they had pushed to the forefront, which were strong, independent females. And if they were villains, well, guess what? They were sympathetic villains, and they killed themselves to atone for their sins. Even though, when it came to the men, nope, they were dumb, they were stupid, they didn't know how to act, and they were fools. And if they were villains, they were especially not sympathetic, right? They made that a point. Oh, it's so stupid. Anyways, as we can see here, Marvel recently hooked audience with a 5-hour live stream of chairs announcing the cast of Doomsday, blah, blah, blah. And as we keep going on, as expected, Avengers Doomsday will feature a plethora of incredible stars like Chris Hemsworth, Paul Rudd. While there were surprises additions to this, which was the original X-Men cast. However, the announcement wasn't without its faults, as it did reveal arguably the biggest flaw of the MCU's current face. Which, no, it's not. They already have plenty of fucking females in this goddamn thing, and you don't need to have more than it's not good. Considering the size cast, it is a genuine issue that there are only a handful of women set to be involved in the prominent roles. Florence Pugh, Vanessa Kirby, Letitia Wright, Rebecca Romijn. That's a new name, so it's going to be hard to kind of get used to. Hannah John Kamen were the only women confirmed, and while they are all brilliant, it simply isn't enough. Of course, some characters might be left out of it for genuine storyline reasons, while certain actresses might be unavailable to be involved in Avengers Doomsday, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's some massive MCU characters not involved here, which, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and like I said, these characters are not important. You fucked up Scarlet Witch's character, and now you're gonna pay the consequences for making her the way you did it for Doctor Strange's mom. And that's only your fault because she had a good arc after WandaVision, and then all of a sudden you turn heel and make her a villain, and a really stupid one at that, because she could have anything and travel the multiverse with her magic and shit like that, and she ended up just making so many fucking errors in that film. It just dumbfounds me. Whatever, the idea of Marvel Studios has a female problem isn't a new phenomenon, as this is something that has followed the franchise around from its inception. The fact that the original Avengers lineup only featured Black Widow was as a female, which is again like, these people, it's just like, there's not enough women in it. And it's like, it doesn't need to, okay, because the main demographic usually is men, and there's a sprinkled amount of females throughout all the teams, right? When you think of the Fantastic Four, there's only one female. When you think of the X-Men, there's only about 3 to 4 of them that are actually prominent, while the others 10 are men. Again, the Avengers. In the original, yes, you had Janet Van Dyne be one of the main ones, and she was like the only female. It's crazy how they're so quick to try and be like, oh, well, look, you don't have enough females in this, so it's not going to be good. It's like, no, they did really good on their own back in the day with the characters that they had. They don't need to push having more females in there, right? Especially when you have characters in the new timeline where they're just replacing new ones. Hawkeye, now it's a girl. Iron Man, now it's a girl. Whatchamacallit. You have characters like America Chavez and is it Miss Marvel? Whatever, the fucking Kamala Khan character, which are all just vapid characters that really don't do much for the storyline other than try and replace iconic male characters. I'm like, whatever. Again, just a quick synopsis of all this shit that's going on, which makes little to no sense at all of, you know, this casting. It reeks of desperation, and the issues that some of the people are bringing up are really non-issues at all, because if they just focus on good story writing, good character development, and just actually put in the work for the CGI, it'll look good. It'll be good. But if they focus on the things like DEI, it's not going to be good. Because as we've seen with the recent Marvel films, they have not been doing the best, right? There's a reason why Ant-Man and the Wasp flopped. There's a reason why the Marvels flopped. There's a reason why Captain Black, whatever, America flopped. There's a reason why Thor Love and Thunder flopped. Like, bro, the list goes on and on and on. You only had a handful of films that barely broke even, and the only ones that actually made more than a profit, which was Doctor Strange Mom and No Way Home, which was a Sony project, so Marvel didn't really get much from that. But hey, I'm just the big if I'm saying it's not really going to make that much money if they have these characters in there, because, again, some of them are just not popular, and the fact that they're trying to push them so heavily only makes people deny them even more. But that's all I'm going to say for now. Other than that, y'all have a good night, good evening, and good morning. Do y'all approve of this? Do you hate it? Let me know. That being said, Shinigami signing out. Bye.